Now to know your mind. Tips for dealing with the stress and anxiety of the pandemic. Before the break, we asked what percentage of adults in the U.S. feel uncomfortable with the idea of in-person interactions when the pandemic ends. What about you? Did you guess 25, 50, or 75%? Well, according to the American Psychological Association, the answer is nearly 50%. That includes almost half of those taking the survey who are fully vaccinated. With so many people feeling uncomfortable about interacting with others, how do you deal with a return to the office now that more and more workers are going back? I recently asked a local psychologist for advice. With me now is licensed psychologist and author Tamar Chansky. Chansky's work focuses on overcoming anxiety. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Tracy.
All right, so people are starting to go back to in-person work. What are the biggest mistakes that we can make when we do that?
Wow, that is a great question, Tracy. And it's like such a gift. I don't know where to begin, but I will say this, that we don't want to miss the opportunity to create a safe environment for everyone by not assuming that we know what makes a safe environment for each person. So what does that mean? Talk to each other, state the obvious about welcoming people back and wanting to know what they need to make their life work right now. All of us function best at a moderate level of anxiety, not a high level of anxiety. We've all come from somewhat of a high level of anxiety place. And so the workplace, there's a great opportunity to help everyone feel comfortable and safe, but we have to know what that means.
I'm guessing we have to know ourselves and then we have to convey it. So how do we talk to our bosses about what we feel is safe?
Yeah, I think the welcoming question from our bosses would really help pave the way to know that we're safe to say, look, my kids are doing online school. I need to be able to check in with them, or whatever the situation may be, or about health issues. So I think really putting out the welcome mat to say, we're so glad you're back and we need to hear from you. Please be open. And we're going to figure this out because we have to figure it out to make it work for everyone.
What else can an employer do? What are we don't even have best practices yet, but as they start to bring people back, how do they create a culture of taking care of one another in the workplace?
Yeah, I think that making time for the contact and communication, which will actually be a time saver in the end. So really, making people feel welcome, having an open door for, being able to talk about issues that come up. Maybe also just, I'm a behavior therapist. Think about gradual desensitization, that easing in on your hours, not going from, 0 to 60 in 1 week. If that's possible, wherever that's possible, gradual is going to be good for everyone.
And I'm guessing you would say, too, as you experience the feelings, check in with yourself as you return to an in-person workplace.
Absolutely. I want to be clear, this is a place where we can have anxiety. We do have anxiety about this situation, but there are also facts about what is safe and what is not. And so we don't want to confuse the two of those. If if anyone feels like the practices at their workplace is not in line with what the safety guidelines are, that conversation needs to happen.
Psychologist Tamar Chansky, thank you so much. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Tracy.